The Daily Digest, of course, is posted to X every morning. It's pinned up top, and it's emailed to anyone that subscribes at thenifty.com. Yuga Lab's social media lead was laid off after harmful tweets were resurfaced from his account. Ever heard of deleting your old racist tweets, ladies and gentlemen? It's not that hard to do. I deleted all of mine. You know, when I called people from Iceland penguins and shit, you know, like I deleted all that stuff. I was just like, yeah, you polar bears over in Iceland, get out of here. That's why you guys can't cancel me now. Anyway, Stars Arena 2 was announced after a new team takes over.
Classic racist joke there, Pio. Great job.
Nick, are you satisfied with how well your video of the not people not knowing who you are is doing? It seems like it's doing quite well.
Well, it's Monday is better than a Saturday afternoon. I'll tell you that much for posting that content. But yeah, I'm doing all right with it. But no, keep the racist jokes coming.
Okay,
really looking forward to more of those.
Okay, there you go. And I'm going to play that video at the end of the show too, because of the learnings that we had in Breakpoint about where different audience members are consuming content. So we'll play it on this show. Anyway, Blur Season 2 rewards is coming in less than 2 weeks. The Blur token is up 27% in the last 7 days to 32 cents. Grapes by Animoca was the winner of the weekend, up 50% to 1.3 Ethereum to anticipate for their Grape token reaching new highs. Clemente wrote that wrong. After the airdrop to Rare Pass holders, Remnants by XCopy holds a 7 ETH floor, while the Rare Pass drops to 0.6 ETH. Artist Pack teased a comeback after posting a video on Twitter and fuels controversy. If by fuels controversy, you mean gets called out by everybody, including me and Nick, because clearly that is like one of the best bull run indicators I've ever seen, is that Pack's like, oh, I'm going to get ready to come back and extract some value from y'all. And I was thinking about it. I feel like one of the Pack pieces is actually called Extraction, which is a hilarious on the nose, trolling you without you realize he's trolling you type of thing. Last thing, Claynosaurz. Official trailer, shout out to Claynosaurz, has received 150K views on YouTube, and the YouTube account has reached over 20K subscribers, and they're making waves in the traditional animation world, which is not a surprise because that's where they come from, and this trailer is absolutely badass. But just crazy to see that success. This is so cool, incredibly well done, and very, very, very exciting. Very exciting, in my opinion, for NFT-related organizations just progressing in general. Very exciting stuff. Easy, what's the floor on a Clayno?
Right now, I think it's just hair under $1,000 US.
Sol-wise, what is it? Sol.
Let me double check. I think that puts it at like 25 Sol right now, maybe 20, 25.
They have dipped recently, right?
Yeah, well, everything in the Sol ecosystem did dip just because of the run. They're at 26. So at 40, you're looking at 26 times 40, give or take. I think we're at like 42. Yeah, a little over $1,000, like 1,100, which not too shabby. They minted, I think, for 150. Was what it was, $150 to $200. And overall, I mean, it's great to see. I'm very excited. I love their event. I think they had one of the best events at Breakpoint. Really good crowd, great venue. It wasn't too loud, so you could actually talk to people. And then they dropped their announcement in person. They had their physical items, so they had the plushies that they were showing. They had a vinyl figure that they haven't teased, showed that for the first time. And then they teased their mobile app that they're launching, which they're calling a mix of Tamagotchi and Fortnite. I'm very curious to see how exactly that'll pan out, but I'm very eager and excited for it. I think if any project on Sol is going to break through that barrier, we're already starting to see it right now with Clayno. And I love their team. Like, I'm definitely a Clayno maxi. I only hold one of them. I don't hold many by any means, but I'm a huge fan of their team. I've talked to them a bunch. Really, really excited to see what they continue to cook.
And real quick, we got a lot of stuff to dive into. Today is a juicy day. I can feel it down in my plums today. I'll tell you that. But real quick, Claynosaurz, the event. I don't want to understate this. The event's like their event in Breakpoint last week. That was like a real event, like an actual event that took probably like a team of people to plan, and it was a whole thing. Our event was a cocktail party. That's what we do. We run a bar. It's an open bar. We don't do food because nobody eats the food, and you can come and you can hang out and talk to each other, and that's like our thing. The Claynosaurz event was an actual event at a massive venue, so it was really, really cool. And seeing the reveal of their the plushies and the trailer was very, 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 very cool. Incredible, just incredible. fantastic to see in the Web3 space. But anyway, moving on, we're going to quickly cover ApeFest and people get literally being blinded, which I don't think, look, ladies and gentlemen, maybe you can put yourself in the shoes of a startup entrepreneur. Maybe this will be the thing that you can understand. Can you imagine planning your big international annual basically conference, right? It's an in-person meetup, but at a big scale. It's probably got a multi-7-figure budget, literally. You're the biggest startup in the space. You are funded by A16Z. That's not a joke. You're actually funded by A16Z. You've generated more revenue than anybody else. You have the biggest name in the space. There was no chance that one of the problems that they foresaw coming was people being hospitalized because of eye-related issues because of the lighting setup. Can you put yourself in their shoes real quick? They weren't trying to blind people. This wasn't some Illuminati thing like, yeah, we're going to take away their vision. Like, come on, man. Can you imagine having to deal with this? People were probably up all night at the, like on the Yuga team, like the founders and stuff probably had to be up all night to deal with that, to talk to lawyers, to release an official statement. I don't even know if they've done that yet. But Bunny, what do you make of that? And then we're going to move on because we got a bunch of juicy market stuff, both on the NFT side and the crypto side to get into. But Bunny, please take it away.
When I'm going to a party that I expect to be lit, I assume I'm going to get injured or sick or something anyway. So I feel like it's just par for the course, dude. Like, you're going to get some bumps and bruises at these things. It's not a big deal. Not the end of the world. I'm sure just throw some Visine in and rally,
Bunny, just because you solve all your eye-related problems that are due to smoking marijuana by putting Visine in your eyes doesn't mean that people that had actual optical issues that rendered them hospitalized in Asia is going to be solved by Visine. I'm getting calls from random.
No, I talked to one of my buddies who's there. He said he just threw some Visine and he was good to go. So.
Well, there you go. I need to figure out how to put my phone in a do not disturb mode because I'm getting random calls from Nashville, Tennessee. Probably someone trying to fish me. But anyway, Clemente, go.
Real quick, shout out, I don't know if it's the Simpsons effect, but this space today is pretty electric to the point to where we're getting call outs from commenters saying NFTs are pointless, and a mention in an episode of The Simpsons doesn't change that. So thank you for listening, Johnny.
So I love this. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you an indicator that you can only pick up on from years in the space. The numbers in the Twitter show are an indicator that there's attention on NFTs realistically because of The Simpsons. And when people write negative tweets like that, like haters, that's the ultimate good sign. Because if there aren't people writing hater tweets, then basically just nobody's paying attention to your shit. So nearly nobody said anything negative about our show for almost a calendar year during the past bear market. I need people coming over and telling me to douse myself in gasoline and light myself on fire. That's what's going to make me happy, because that's going to show that the haters are back and that the NFT side of the space is back. But look, we got to talk about the market here. I've been thinking a lot about a few different things over the weekend. So I've been plowing money into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Dogecoin over the past year to a point that a quote from Nick, my co-founder in this organization, who's supposed to be a crypto guy, his quote was, "The amount of Bitcoin that you're buying is not normal." That was a quote from Nick at dinner one night. He said it was not normal. We'll see who's not normal now that it's the early, if I was buying all that stuff when Bitcoin was in the low 20s. But anyway, Ethereum right now is the most interesting to me because you see the pump on Solana, the unholy pump on Solana. You see the pump on Bitcoin because of the ETF, and then you see the Ethereum lag, and people basically saying like Ethereum's falling behind. You want to buy Bitcoin and Solana. Solana solves the problems that Ethereum has not solved. Easy, what do you make of accumulating Ethereum at this price?
I'm torn on it. Obviously, I'm a Solana maxi. So for me, it's like, I just think ETH will get back to all-time high, but the way I'm looking at this is I just look at risk-reward profile of it all. Like, what has a higher upside with lower downside? It's some of these alts. Like, I'm net long AVAX, net long SOL. Obviously, I do still hold some Bitcoin and ETH, but if I'm buying more, someone asked, they're like, "Are you still buying SOL at $40?" I'm like, yeah. Like, my DCA approach is not stopping. Probably until Solana hits $100, and then I'll reevaluate. But once it hits 100, then maybe I just stop the DCA approach and just SOL. But right now, it's like, I don't see any reason not to continue to just buy Solana every single day. Like that's my big thing. And I look at my Coinbase and it feels nice because I just have buys every single day. I don't think about it. I get the notification on my Apple Watch that says your purchase has gone through. I'm like, great, awesome. Not too worried about the price. I looked at my average price the other day in Breakpoint and I was like, oh, this feels really good, because I've just been buying.
Quick question. Does that Coinbase account have over or under 150,000 buckaroons in it? If you're talking US dollar stuff.
Yeah, a little more right now. A little more. But it's been like, dude, I bought a lot of Solana when we were on my space in December when SOL was 860. I was like, dude, if I'm doing this space, we have 2,000 people in it, peak bear market. Why would I not be buying here? And even that day, it did a 50% candle when Vitalik tweeted about it. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, this feels good, So, yeah, I mean, my SOL bags feel really good, feel very, very good. And I think they're going to feel even better when Solana trades at 100 and then feel even better when Solana trades at 300. Ooh. And then, I'll feel untouchable when Solana trades at 600. At that point, I'll probably start Googling Lamborghinis and making terrible decisions in my spare time.
Well, don't do that. Signal, what do you make of Ethereum here? And then I want to move on to NFT stuff. But Sig, please take it away.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I've just spent too much time with you guys because I've also been influenced by the Solana side of things. Ethereum, like I've been DCing and then just coming in and out of Ethereum because of buying and trading NFTs over the last few years. So I'm really comfortable with my ETH position. I don't feel like I need to keep adding to it aggressively, but I do feel I need to add more aggressively to Solana. I really, really do for where it is, because I agree with Easy. I think it's just like the risk reward here still feels good. I don't see it going back down to $8. I mean, it would really take a
I'm
black
putting this on
event.
wax, Sig. We're not seeing under $20 again. I don't even like.
No.
I'm putting it on wax. I'm putting it on wax. Write it down. Stamp of approval. 24. If we see 24 again, your boys backing up a Brinks truck, remortgaging a house I don't even own, and we're buying more.
The thing is, I don't really mind if it goes back down to 24 because I think in the long term it will still go back up. I really don't, and I think like what we just saw with how Bitcoin has performed over the last 18 months and seen its recovery, how Ethereum has done, how Solana has done, like all of these have weathered a brutal storm. And so I have confidence over the long term, and I don't trade in and out of this stuff. I just buy it in DCA. So I need to pack my bags a bit more. I'm definitely behind you, Easy. And yeah, just accumulate more. But ETH, not so much right now. Not so much.
Not so much right now. I'm telling you right now, Signal, this is the time to buy Ethereum because people are not paying attention to it and it's not going anywhere. Clemente, you looking like you want to step into the octagon. What's going on?
I just bought some literally 30 minutes ago. I was sitting there. My money finally transferred from my stock over here. All right. You know what? Never mind then. You know what? Anyways, I bought some this morning. A sizable amount for me, I would consider.
$1,000, $2,000.
More.
Okay, let's go.
Pio's just trying to expose everything. We're gonna get jumped after this show because of Pio. Hey, how much money you got in your bank account right now?
The reason you're not gonna get jumped is because literally nobody on the planet knows who any of us are. So don't worry about it. You're not gonna get jumped. But anyway, so yeah, the crypto side, very interesting stuff. I also sat down and I was looking at I have Pepe coin. I have like a negligible amount of Pepe coin to basically shut up all the shitcoin people that are
away and hold it. Like that's because if there is going to be a meme cycle, I think Pepe is going to cook. Like you still haven't gotten a Coinbase listing. I hold 0 Pepe, but like every cycle you always see a meme from last cycle become like still run. And like Pepe feels like the biggest no brainer. You know what I mean? Like that's one, but Pio, I'm curious for you. Why are you hyper bullish ETH right now at this price action? Like you're like, I feel like ETH is a good buy here. Is it because everyone's kind of writing it off?
Well, keep in mind, I'm not a trader, right? So everybody like needs to understand I am not a guy that's buying something today to sell it tomorrow. I guess it did come up a little bit. It was at like 1,600 recently.
It's outpaced Bitcoin and SOL on this most recent retrace. Like it seems like it's playing catch up here.
Well, maybe it's not a great time. I mean, it is a great time because the number that like Clemente just had the ETH price on the screen in like a year and a half, that number is going to be over 2x what the number is now. So of course it's a good time. I've been plowing money into this stuff real quick. So I've been reading this Broken Money by Lynn Alden book, right? So, all right, I actually don't even want to do this right now. I'm not even going to do this. Let's just talk about NFTs. I'm not going to do this right now. I'm not doing it.
NFTs are cooking.
Let's
and I
talk
missed
about
all of
NFTs.
them last week, dude. Everything right now is running on the back of a potential token. Mochaverse giga sending 50 total listed because of a leak slide that showed a Mocha token. Obviously, Animoca brands backing a ton of these other games, giga sending them. You have raw passes. Those went from, I think, a 0.03 mint. It's now sitting at 0.14. You got everything with the token, basically. Block Games Dice at 0.17. Vitaria up, or Mataria up. There's so much stuff right now that is on this back of tokens that are giga sending solely because Meme Token did what it did. And Meme Token's holding strong right now, which has people excited for what the potential next one could be. Grapes went from 0.3 to 1.3 in 14 days. Like, that is a hook. Shout out Tanner. He's been chilling Grapes for so long.
They got a token too, Grape Token, right?
Yeah, so Grape Token is their token. I had the opportunity with the gold ticket to, I believe, put in, it's up to 0.3. You haven't had a chance to put it in yet. You can just confirm the wallet you plan to do it from. But that's an Animoca backed project. So right now, there's like a lot of speculation and hype going around of people that are getting excited for these next games and these next plays, that people right now are like, I missed Meme Coin. I didn't think Meme Coin was going to do what it did, and it did what it did. So now you got so many people just like, okay, this feels like something. This definitely feels like something right now. I don't know exactly what it is, but the market feels good. You look at volume, we're over August highs from NFTs right now, and it's lining up perfectly with a small blur stimmy here in about 15 days. So you're getting this catalyst effect, this storm effect of people that are watching the market, finding plays. And I had talked last week on the lone day that I was on the show that I'm looking at stuff that's like 0.2 and under, because those right now have been just absolutely printing. Like, you could have picked basically any of these games that have been sitting at 0.07 to 0.03, and every one of them has tested 0.2 now. So like, those are clean 8 to 10x's depending on where you got in on some of these things and where they've pushed. It feels good. Like, the NFT market feels like it's getting some legs, but you're getting legs for things that have catalysts and deliverables, aside from obviously the Simpsons that dropped purely off the back of the speculation. I wouldn't touch that with a 50-foot pole, but there's some good plays out there. And I'm also like anxiously looking at like what the next play is going to be, because right now what this is setting up for is future plays, which I'm more excited about.
So I have questions. I have questions to people that were active in the space prior to 2020. As many people know, I started buying Bitcoin for the first time in March 2020, before the Bitcoin halving, the last Bitcoin halving. And then I did not get to NFTs until 1 year later in February 2021. What I would like to know is what the action was like on altcoins in late 2019. If anybody knows what the action was like on altcoins,
it was ugly.
It was ugly.
It was. You got to remember, dude, ETH DeFi summer was 16 to 18. And altcoins in 19 basically fell off extremely hard until the summer of 2020.
What about DeFi in late 19? That was
summer of 2020. It was DeFi summer leading into the NFT run in 2021. So altcoins got just absolutely obliterated from 18 to 19. Basically, the whole market just got kicked in the face. And it was scary. Like, that was the thing, was it was quiet, like really quiet on Twitter in that 18 cycle, like 16 to 18 bull, 18, 19, kind of this fall off. And then stuff started to heat up going into ETH DeFi summer, where the market really felt alive. But like, dude, you didn't have Twitter the way it was right now. Like, no, there was no crypto Twitter. It was like, you can go back and look at like Nate Alex is a great Twitter account who has weathered the storm really well from last cycle and kept his account. He has tweets that literally have like 2 to 3 favorites when he talks about crypto and like the next 1000x, despite having 50, 60,000 followers. It was bad. Like, people would just laugh at you about it. And obviously, like, that was, I said 50, 60,000 at the time is what he had, versus now where it's a totally different game. But it was just a different world. And you look at it now and it's like night and day. Cause even during this bear, we were showing up every day. People were showing up every day. People were still delivering. It was a totally different market where alts bled, majors bled. It was the end on the writing on the wall. It was over. Didn't ETH go down, I want to say, to like $80? Like,
well, the low of the previous cycle was $80 ETH, and I want to say $3,000 Bitcoin. My first ETH buy was at $170, and I literally just bought it because I was like, well, I'm learning about this Bitcoin thing, and this is the number 2 thing, so let me buy some of this ETH thing. Obviously, at the time, I should have plowed every dollar I had into both of those, but whatever. If you go by the numbers, you technically should have plowed it all into ETH because ETH outperformed Bitcoin last cycle. But yeah, so I mean, the reason I brought it up easy is because it feels early for a major NFT pump, but then again, it's not like every cycle pattern needs to be identical. And we had Dan Held on the Bitcoin show last Tuesday. Dan Held has been a holder of Bitcoin, I want to say since like 2010, 2011, if not earlier. And he talked about how this cycle could be different because the ETF could cause us to like front run previous cycle patterns. So previous cycle patterns were that the all-time highs would come between 6 and 18 months after the halving. The halving for Bitcoin, of course, coming up in late April. But if a BlackRock ETF gets approved for Bitcoin and all of a sudden you get like a $10,000 green candle on Bitcoin, literal piss missile, everybody's just talking about Bitcoin, then you see capital flow into altcoins like Ethereum, Solana, and others. Dogecoin too. I mean, Elon Musk has declared that X will never have its own native crypto token. There's been video footage of him suggesting the idea that you could tip another X creator in Dogecoin, and everybody knows how much he's obsessed with Dogecoin. I see no reason to think that any other cryptocurrency will be the native token of X besides Dogecoin. And at 7 cents right now, when the all-time high was over 50 cents, I kind of feel like the direction of Dogecoin is directionally up over the next 2 years. NFTs will be caught up in that mix. So what I was thinking about was plowing about 16 Ethereum into 3 floor Mutant Apes. You think that's a crazy idea, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think of that, right? Because look, in moments like this,
play.
You love it?
I love that play. Like, I texted Bunny, I think Saturday, and said I want a mutant. It was like, it's the first time I've ever been like, I might buy a mutant. I've never held a mutant. I've never held an ape. And that was one. Now I'm like, I think I want a mutant. I think I want a mutant. As crazy as it sounds, like we think of flight to quality or whatever the stupid term is, and apes feel like a flight to quality here. You know, I do think there's some other, like, I think if anything continues to cycle there, if you're gonna buy 3 mutants, you're at about 15 ETH. I'm torn because do apes get down to 20 and maybe you just grab an ape? Because obviously, like, rewards will continue to cycle there. That's my tough debate, is like, but then you're also trying to time the bottom, and I just
trying to time the bottom. You're married to an expensive ass single asset, right? It's like one asset. Whereas with a mutant, if you get 3 mutants for 16 ETH, then
you'd have to buy floors though. Like, I'm gonna say you have to buy literally the bottom of the barrel floor and not think about it. Don't even care about the traits, aesthetics, none of that. You just buy the floor.
I don't care about the traits because the market has proven that the market doesn't give a shit about the traits. And I'm not going to push back against the market. The market's basically taking a sledgehammer to you for the whole bear market. I'm not going to try to like change. I'm not going to say, hey, use this rubber, this pool foam thing or whatever. Use the foam thing. The market's going to use the sledgehammer. Alfalfa over here, I feel like I want to counter trade this take. I feel like this take is something that I want to go the opposite of, because the way I'm framing it is 1 year ago, and it's actually really funny that it's exactly 1 year ago, because when we had Raul Paul on this show, he talked about the 1 year lag between the liquid asset class and the illiquid asset class, compared stocks to real estate, identically to crypto and NFTs. And it's really funny that exactly 1 year later is when we're having this conversation, because 1 year ago, Bitcoin was $16,000, Solana was $8, and I don't remember what the low was on ETH, but I was only buying Bitcoin. Because in moments like that, when the whole town is burning, when FTX just blew up, when people are like, crypto's dead, blah, 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 the only thing that I could like plow money into at that point was Bitcoin, because it was my highest. It was like, that's my thing, right? I was not buying Solana at $8. I think I probably started buying Solana at like $15. And so that's the flight to quality right now with no one looking at NFTs. I mean, obviously the Simpsons just did the NFT thing yesterday. I can only buy the highest quality. I'm looking at Yuga Labs. I'm looking at Mutant Apes, because I'm framing this as basically the crypto market just will it'll just buy assets. And a lot of these assets are grandfathered in. Like Moonbirds could go up in price. Like it doesn't matter what they do because it doesn't, like, this market is not about doing things. You know what I mean? You have people literally saying that Yuga Labs is not a business when it's a $100 million venture funded startup funded by the biggest names in the VC world on the tech side. And you have people in the market saying it's not a business. So clearly, it doesn't matter what you do. All that matters is that the asset is kind of grandfathered in. So I'm looking at Mutant Apes as something that's just going to go up. If people decide the NFT market's going to go up now and they're just going to buy it to sell it later, and the price is going to go up. So that's what I'm thinking about with Mutant Apes.
Why wouldn't you go to the most liquid asset within it, which is Apecoin, over a mutant?
I'm looking at it as an NFT thing, Sig. I'm not looking at it as like a crypto play. I'd rather buy more Solana than buy. I just don't know.
I can answer that question. You're looking at a token right now that needs to still introduce syncs with still linear unlocks. So early investors, there's still unlocks happening monthly on Ape, which causes downward sell pressure. There's already a fixed supply and a finite supply of mutants and apes with potential future rewards. Other side obviously is really interesting. They've been teasing this clubhouse at the event. They had a clubhouse that people could hang out in, which got people excited, interested, and more. We're still waiting on the one in Miami. Mutants give you access to it. I just lean significantly more on that because you're going to have to introduce a variety of syncs for Apecoin to have potential upside. Whereas even now, you can still stake a mutant, not in the US, to earn Apecoin. So I think that you can still get proxy effect from it versus unlocks, VC value, like vested interest and more from Apecoin. And if anything, if you're going to hold a token, going to hold Solana.
Yeah, but I don't see Solana as like an alt compared to, say, Apecoin. Like I would put Apecoin in like, am I buying Doge? Am I buying Pepe? Am I buying Apecoin? Like I'd put it in that category. And it just feels like everything which you said was like a weakness of Ape, Yuga are very much aware of it and will be trying to address these things over the next 12 months. So it just feels like plowing 15 ETH into 3 mutants could probably be broken up over something more liquid and something slightly less illiquid within the Yuga ecosystem, rather than being stuck with 3 mutants, which you potentially can't get out of when you want to get out of it.
Well, with Blur, you can get out of all this stuff at the drop of a hat. You just might not, get the money that you want for it. But Sig, for me to answer your question, it's actually just because I don't understand Apecoin. And that's not me saying that Apecoin is not understandable. It's just that I have not done deep research on that fungible token that corresponds to Yuga Labs, that Easy talked about a lot of the future factors that are going to come into play for it. And to be honest, I'm not that interested in learning. And that's not me being disrespectful. I mean, I'm literally talking about buying the NFTs from that organization. So this is not me throwing shade at the organization. This is me saying, I want to buy NFTs, to be ready for the NFT market pump. And those are the ones that I'm looking at. If I didn't look at I would want a CryptoPunk, but I don't have $80,000 worth of Ethereum right now lying around. Unfortunately, I should. I quite frankly should, but I don't. I have closer to like, I guess $40,000. So I have half that. And I'm not going to change Bitcoin for I don't know. Look, maybe I do buy a CryptoPunk. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway,
real quick on that note, one of the things I'm actually bearish on Yuga on is if they move to Magic Eden and they enforce royalties, how much does that dry up the liquidity on Bored Apes, Mutants, etc., if they have a 5% mandatory royalty on that, given that right now we're seeing most of the volume be on Blur?
Someone got the question? Someone answered, Clemente?
I don't think it does. Like that, as crazy as it sounds, like you still look at like a flooring protocol, which is going to still incentivize liquidity and get people excited, as crazy as it may sound. To me, what's going to happen is it's going to force the hand. Like what happens if Blur then enforces royalties and allows them to be traded there once again? That liquidity is going to be a compounding effect. Like I don't think right now Magic Eden's partnership is eliminating potential future for them to go back on Blur. I think it's just forcing the hand, because we saw this on Solana, where we have now enforced royalty at the contract level, and liquidity has honestly stayed relatively stable between 700K to 1.2 million over this extended period of time. It's just that you're not going to see days of 7 to 10% royalties. I think if anything, that's going to end up ultimately dropping down to like 2%, which feels negligible.
And you look at Mochaverse and Captainz, both of those have royalties enforced, actually, which is interesting that they've seen the gains despite having 3.5% to 5% royalties. So maybe it's not going to be as much of an impact as I thought.
That's where I think too. And it's like, those are still hyper liquid right now on Blur, despite the enforced royalties. I just think right now, like my big question is and concern, and for Pio here, it's like, I'd almost wait and maybe spend a couple extra ETH or save a few ETH until the Magic Eden Yuga Lab thing drops.
You know what I was thinking about waiting for? I was thinking about just plowing more fiat into ETH right now and making that the primary thing that I'm plowing money into, and wait for an ETH cook, like a real ETH cook, which is inevitable because think about it like this, ladies and gentlemen. You have two monster events in the next 6 months. You have the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF and you have the Bitcoin halving. These are monster events that are going to make the price of the crypto assets go up in a considerable way. So why wouldn't I plow fiat into the crypto assets, continue to for now, and then wait for them to pump hard, and then wait for the NFTs to not pump as hard, right? Because I just don't, this is where I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I know that I'm right that crypto assets are going to pump over the next 12 to 18 months. I mean, come on. Literally, come on.
Pumps and plows.
But what I don't know, the big question is, if ETH goes on a face melting pump, do NFTs go with it or not? Obviously, my instinct is no.
But we don't know. Call me crazy. We don't know. We've seen one NFT cycle. There's no data that can be completely accurate. So far, we have seen in the bull, it run up with ETH. In the bear, it run down against ETH. We don't know what's going to happen here.
I know we don't know. I'm pointing out that we don't know, but I'm saying, like, maybe I'm scarred from the brutality of the last 2.5 years in NFTs. I find it hard to believe that I could buy 16 Ethereum worth of Mutant Apes right now, and Ethereum goes to north of 3K, and the Mutant Apes increase in Ethereum value. Like, let's say the mutants pump to 11 ETH each. So my 16 ETH turns into like 33 ETH, and ETH goes up in US dollar prices. That sounds too good to be true. Maybe it is true. Maybe it is true. But that feels like wishful thinking, you know, versus a gnarly ETH pump. The mutants staying at the same ETH value or going down a little bit and then plowing the ETH into the mutants. I don't know. That's a big question.
You're seeing this, Pio, your time horizon for a lot of people listening is like 12 to 18 plus months. You're looking to buy mutants right now.
Always. Yeah. I mean, and the elite artist here on YouTube. And by the way, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, on a day after the Simpsons thing where we see the numbers higher than they have been in quite a while, which obviously feels great. Just want to do this quick shout out to everybody that's still just rocking with us and been rocking with us. Shout out to Shrimp. I see Shrimp in the crowd. Shout out to Tanner. Shout out to Bell. Shout out to Jack GK, King Kel. You know, King Kel came through to the event. Key in the crowd came through to the event. Shout out to Mirzda and so many more. So many more. I see so many people in there. It's great to see faces that have been around for the whole time, the whole bear market, just rocking with us on a day like this. Anyway, real quick, somebody pointed out on YouTube, they said just buy 16 Ethereum worth of Solana. That's another conversation to have. Are 3 Mutant Apes going to outperform Solana? In general, I feel like the odds of any NFT outperforming the underlying token, when the underlying token hasn't experienced the inevitable face melting pump that's going to come after Bitcoin halving and Bitcoin ETF gets approved over the next 12 to 18 months, it does make it very difficult for me to have NFTs. I've essentially been fire sailing most NFTs that I own now just to get any sort of ETH back, just to have the ETH because I feel more comfortable being in the ETH. These were also NFTs that I'm just giving up on because I'm like, all right, like this is not going up. This is not going up, you know? And keep in mind, I sold a mutant for $25,000 of January this year, $25K. And it basically funded like my meals and transportation for the whole year. Like when you start thinking about the US dollar amounts on these things, like 25 grand, that's a lot of sandwiches, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying, it's a lot of sandwiches. And how much is a mutant now? It's like what, 8 grand? So I was right to sell it for 25K. I should have sold it for like $100,000, but whatever. It is what it is. Real quick, we have Jonah on stage. Jonah, we wanted to schedule you to be a panelist panelists on an actual scheduled day on video. This does not count. So if you think that this counts, I'm going to kick you off the stage. And also, is that scheduled? Are you scheduled to be on this show? No. Clemente's saying no. Jonah, what the hell's going on, dude? Why is it hard to schedule with you? You're not like Barack Obama. Like, come on, dude. Like, what's going on?
I asked for Wednesday, and he said, I can't do Wednesday. So now I got to figure out what other day I can do.
Well, it seems like you could have done today. You're here right now. I don't think you're over here, getting your eyebrows waxed. So why didn't you just schedule for today?
Because I had a call for like the first 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, God, ladies and gentlemen, God forbid we get 15 to 20 minutes less time with Jonah. The audience would be just chasing us down. It would be an angry mob if Jonah wasn't here. Anyway, Jonah, something compelled you to request to speak right now. What's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi, and also you guys were talking games and game tokens, so I thought I'd join the conversation. It's Token City. In our group at this point, it's like everyone was. I can tell you that there was another game that said they're going to probably do a token Q1 next year. The great passes were so funny. I had like 45 of them, and nobody wanted them when I was giving them out. And now people are like, "Hey, you still got those passes?" I'm like, "No, they're all gone."
Okay.
Yeah. So and by the way, Bitcoin gaming, like I think that's going to potentially be huge next year. I was talking to a founder who's building one, and I was like, wow, this is really impressive.
Yeah, you want to know something that literally nobody is seeing coming? It's that. And people in the crowd right now are like, what is this guy on drugs? No, like they're building games on Bitcoin right now, and you have no idea. And guess what? People that own Bitcoin, not only did they not have any idea, when they find out, they're going to be super pissed about it. They're going to be super pissed about it because they're basically like, Bitcoin is money only. And that's like being mad about your iPhone also having a GPS. It's like, it's supposed to just be a phone. It's like, well, guess what? They made it so good it can do other things too. I don't know what to tell you. You can get mad about it. It's going to actually make the price of Bitcoin go up. So literally just chill out.
So I have another thesis here. Because based on all the games I've seen, or at least one in particular, I'm like, wow, that's a very expensive game to make on Bitcoin. When I was talking to them, they were telling me, and I can say who it is. It's DareWise. They're owned by Animoca Brands. So Animoca Brands has invested millions of dollars into making Bitcoin games. The first one from this group will come out around Q3, Q4 next year. The team that's doing this is the same team that did Assassin's Creed or several other.
Hold on, time out. Jonah, I'm not trying to be rude here. This is what we wanted on Jonah Day, on the day that you refused to book.
There's like a ton of other things. I'm just talking about this one thing.
I know, but we were talking about different
Jonah,
stuff.
I'm going to move on from this and make you come on to discuss this game on Jonah Day, because I have a serious question for you. A dead serious question. I saw a tweet yesterday from you. You sold your CryptoPunk. That caught me off guard. I did not know you owned a CryptoPunk.
Same.
Did you make money on it?
Yeah, I made money. I also just don't talk about my trades in public, but I trade.
Jonah,
Okay.
Well, Jonah, what was it? What was it that, like, obviously we've had the news about the social media manager, but was that really the straw that broke the camel's back?
No.
Sell the punk?
So people get confused. Like, if people really read it instead of like reacted to it, they would realize, like, the first line says, it literally says that in the first line, I had sold my punk last week. Like, it fucking says it in there. So all I said in that post was, I am thankful I sold it last week, because if I had seen this week, I would have considered selling. But I mean, I sold anyway. So it's not that I don't believe in CryptoPunks, by the way. Like, I think they're great. I just don't believe in them as long as they're owned by Yuga, is what I don't believe in.
Got it. Well, Jonah, we are excited for Jonah Day. Please make it easier to book time with you. We literally sent you a Calendly link. Ladies and gentlemen in the crowd, play ball. If people invite you to the show and you say you're going to come, book the time. We're excited for Jonah Day, but we are going to continue on the kind of broader. We're going to continue on the broader NFT stuff. So we were talking about, Clemente, please go ahead.
I wanted to ask Easy what he thought about. I was so thrown off about Cryptoadz and Doodles pumping over the
Cryptoadz
weekend.
are the future of France, dude. I'm
Well,
telling you right now.
Be honest. So
You
should
should
for everyone.
This is
so-
no joke. Cryptoadz are going to keep pumping.
Yeah.
And dude, so at Breakpoint, someone came up to me and was like, hey, I know you traded, I've never had a chance to talk to you. I like ETH just purely because the gains are larger and I'm comfortable trading some things. What are you looking at? I'm looking at a Cryptoad. And I asked the guy, I was like, why? He's like, because if you get this provenance thing that people always love to talk about, I don't see how Cryptoads don't get grouped into that bunch. There's something about them that people just inherently love. And now is I sat there and thought about it for a minute, didn't even respond to the guy. I was like, I think you're spot on with this trade. At the time, they were 0.7. They're now over an ETH. So right now, the other thing we're seeing is for whatever reason, Cryptoads have become the de facto interest of people on SocialFi. When you have a Cryptoad PFP, people get hyped about it. And they're like, oh, this person's SocialFi. They 3-3. They do all this stuff. And for some reason, Cryptoads are just now this like social figure. I don't think they're going to have like punks like provenance, but I do think Cryptoads are going to be one of those things that people look at and they're like, damn, dude, I wish I owned a toad. If you remember our reaction when we saw Nick's toad, we were all like, that's dope. That's sick. It just has this thing. And Gremplin does this something about it, man. Despite them being CCO, it's cool to own a toad. And there's something about that.
Is it the toads or is it the artist? Because then if it's the artist, that opens up a whole other plethora of collections.
I think it's both because you see a Cryptoad PFP and you're like, that's just fun. This guy's a little frog. This girl's a little frog on Twitter. This is fun. And yet then you look at it and you're like, damn, that little frog is worth 20 G's in the bull run. That's kind of badass that this little pixel frog is worth crazy money. And when you look at a toad, for some reason, you're just like, it gives you this emotion and it's like an emotion evoking thing without any utility. It's just vibes. And they were the first vibes thing where people would literally go in the chat and just type vibe. And that was it. Something about it has this effect. I think Doodles are pumping because Poopy tweeted, we're taking big swings. I can't say I'm not nervous to be doing this, but Doodles have had good partnerships, man. Despite them saying they're not an NFT project, they got some plugs that are giving them some layups for good partnerships. And we're seeing more interest on the business standpoint where they opened up that store. People seem to really like it on opening night. Camp, I believe, is the store. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the one that got people really excited. And I've only heard good things about Camp. I've never been to one, but the people that I still talk to that are in like clothing and collectibles, they like the store. So I think that's a really good plug. But dude, there's a lot of things that even I'm looking at now where I'm like, there's some plays that could be made even now. Like that's where I'm like, there's some stuff here that's got me interested. I was looking at Creeps yesterday. That's one up 22% on the day. Everyone talks about the gaming narrative and the run on games. They have a token. They launched one of the most successful Ponzi-like games in the peak bull run, and their team keeps shipping stuff like Overworld and everything else that they're working on. I'm like, this seems interesting to me. That's one I'm watching that has a really strong community. Topia Worlds, which is Hytopia, the former NFT worlds. Dude, their sign up for the game has over 1 million signups for early alpha. Like that's insane. And that team didn't just vanish when Minecraft shot them in the leg and said, you got to stop with Minecraft for this. They just built their own version of Minecraft and just announced the raise recently. There's a lot of stuff right now. Like if you weed through some of the junk and start looking at the teams that never faltered during the bear, and if any and are raising in the bear, which means they're probably raising at a very low valuation purely to get capital to keep working, it seems way more interesting to me.
So real quick, couple things, and I want to throw to Bunny in a moment. On the where we're at in the market side, an indicator that you can use is the number of concurrent listeners of this show. We've literally seen this over and over again. At the cycle top, so right around Other Deed, we would get 2,300 concurrent listeners to the show. And I'm not saying that's a flex. I'm pointing out that that number is significantly bigger than today's number. However, today's number is significantly bigger than the average over the last 6 months. I have to think it's because of the Simpsons thing. The question on that is that number going to steadily go down because the aura of the Simpsons episode wears off? Or is it the start of a little bit of a run and the numbers
start of something new, Pio? It is the start. Shout out High School Musical. This is the start of something new.
Well,
okay,
we'll see. These are the questions you have to answer, and you have to make your bets accordingly. On the Cryptoadz thing, my question is: do people give a shit about oddities? Do they only want Cryptoadz? Does oddities matter? And is Gremplin going to make more art because he likes money? And when people like money, they make more stuff and it dilutes their old stuff, but they make $10 million. So why do they care?
Oddities won't have an effect. Plain and simple. They care about toads. They care about the community from toads. They don't care about oddities.
Time out. Breaking news. Hold on real quick. I want to hear that. Breaking news. Someone just swept 8 oddities. This is a bull run indicator. Or excuse me, 8 cryptodes. This is a bull run indicator. Some Chad in the audience right now is hearing us talk about them, and his instinct, instead of getting like an espresso to feel something, his instinct was to go and buy 8 multi-$1,000 JPEGs. That is an indicator. That was happening the whole bull run. In the bear market, it didn't matter what we were talking about. People weren't going and spending 10 grand on it. So shout out to the Chad that's listening to this show and felt like, yeah, it's a good idea for me to go spend 5 figures on some JPEGs because these 4 schmucks are talking about it. 4 schmucks being me, Easy, Clemente, and Bunny. Signal's not a schmuck.
No, Pierre, sorry, I'm just like connecting some dots here. I feel like your mutant play, I will talk about toads in a second, but your mutant play feels too safe for an illiquid asset, which if it does pump, I don't think you necessarily need to go to the flight to quality. I feel like you can take more risk on, like, if you've got apes, which I think the left side, that's the flight to quality. That's the safest place to be. And then you've got the right side where, Cryptoadz is coming towards the middle, and you've just got the, other stuff like Springfield Punks right at the end. Like, I don't see why, if there's a pump, you need to go to this, like, the safest asset when you could take more risk and have more reward by buying something completely different. I think, like, just this conversation of cryptos is making me think that the mutants play is way too safe, and you should be taking more risk. It's middle curve. You should take more risk, but maybe dial down the amount to get the bigger reward.
Buy a coda.
Buy a coda.
I'm dead serious. Left curve the shit out of it. Buy a coda. Other side launches. Who's the main character? Codas. Bow.
You're probably right, but anyway, real quick, you're probably right. What I was going to say is, look, this cycle, I want to come out on the other end of the cycle, and I want to have, like, no joke, like $800,000 in profits and still have like 3 Bitcoins. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to still have 3 Bitcoins and $800,000 in profit. So I'm going to be a little bit more risk averse in many ways. I mean, we're talking about buying pixelated JPEGs, so there's only a certain degree of only a certain degree of careful that you can be. Bunny has his hand raised. Bunny, is this about gremlin toads and all that?
Nah. Code is a great play. Code is a great play. Dude, these things are the bored apes to the other side. If the other side slaps, they can flip bored apes.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, toads are pumping right now. I mean,
it's the vibes, baby. I'm telling you, it's the vibes. They've been pumping for the last week. But Pio, I wanted to acknowledge something too. We talked about the numbers on today's show. Even before Breakpoint and ApeFest, numbers were slowly trending up. And I think volume is a great indication of it. The market feels more alive right now going into Q4, which is a little surprising. But all in all, like, we're getting a lot of good stuff right now. A lot of positive catalysts. You're getting stuff and people actually delivering things. It feels like the businesses are booming, I will say, which is a first of its kind.
I mean, dude, I posted tweets that got like 100,000 views, not flexing, just pointing out the reach about Yuga being a business, and people were responding like, dude, I mean, the people in this space are different, man, including Bunny. Like, Bunny will literally tell you it's not a business. I'm like, okay, go tell the person that's got like an IRA or a 401k at the business, a 401k match, and tell that to the tech VCs that put $100 million plus into it. The space is different, man. We got a different level. We have someone that was at our event that was, shocked about what our payroll is at our business. And I'm going to actually do a follow-up call with him because I want to like kind of walk him through and show him like, check it out. This is like how like an NFT business runs, because I want to show what exactly is going on here, because he had like a lot of influencers in the past bull run being like, yo, it's just vibes, baby, it's just vibes. And it's like, well, actually it's like $100 million market cap asset, so I think it's a little bit more than just vibes, amigo. Just saying. I mean, people are acting like a crypto pump is just something that you should go like in response to, and I'm just kind of like, amigo, there's kind of a lot of money flying around right now, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, honestly, I'm at a loss for words right now over this Cryptoadz pump. While we talk about it on the show, I'm at a loss for words. I really am. I can't believe that this is happening right now because it's been so long since this happened. This used to happen all the time. People would literally come on the show and bring up crypto rays.
Oh,
and
those cooked. That was a printer. That was a printer. I gotta say this though before someone tags me in the comments and says you own 65 toads and you pumped your bags. I don't own a single goddamn toad, by the way. I own none of it. I don't own anything by Gremplin. Just to put that out there. That's the one thing, bro. I honestly, dude, it feels good. The market feels alive. I'm not underwater on my captain. I'm still a proud community member, but I'm only down like 0.06 on my entry. That 4.2 entry. Some say it was a 0.2, but we'll get past that. And the other side of it, I made a boatload on meme coin. I was hyped about that. That feels good. And we're starting to see some liquidity injection across the board. Meme token. You obviously have Grape coming up. We got Blur coming up. All these liquidity injections from pretty much outside. Like the meme Binance listing to have millions of dollars backing that token, I think did give some signs of life into the space. People got capital they didn't expect, and now they're happy to spend it.
Easy. I've been dying to ask you because you were away last week. Like, what is your play with Captainz now?
I'm a proud community member. Shout out Ray. He's the background on my phone.
You delisted?
It's not listed. It's not listed. I delisted it. I delisted it when I saw what I got because I had 2 fire sales that I put both the max in and my captain allocation. So my cost basis right now is like, truthfully, probably like 0.3, 0.4. After what I've already taken off the table.
Of the Captainz?
So I'm
it's
up
been
almost
that
like,
since the beginning. You
but
were
now it
always
actually
saying
is because
that
I'm taking profit.
Just
I'm
lying.
actually taking profit. It was 4.2 was the entry. The actual entry, if you ask me another time, I'll tell you it's 0.042. That's besides the point. But I've sold my initial meme coin allocation. I've sold my fire sale allocation. So I feel much better about it now. Where now I'm like, screw it. I still have this vesting token because I had max maps and everything else on my captain, which I was like happy about because I was sitting there like, I may as well do this if I'm going to bag hold it and miss my exit. And now I'm like, okay, I have this 80% token unlock that still has to come from my captain. Let's just see what happens at this point. Because it's like, I'm fairly confident 80% will get me back, at least in the green where it's a negligible cost, with ETH higher at a valuation than it was when I bought the captain. So I'm like, let's see what happens.
What's your take right now on where how Captainz are valued? Do you think they're underpriced, correctly priced, mispriced? Like, what's your take on where they are now?
That's a really hard question, to be honest, because it's like, it's all tied now to meme coin. It's all tied. If meme coin gets a pump, Captainz will pump. If meme coin sells off, Captainz will sell off. Come on, do you got something?
I just have one last question because it's the last indicator I will say on like NFT market heating up again is in the comments. We have 63 comments in the show. About 45 of them are just people shilling random ass garbage NFTs. Like, yo, go check this out. You guys don't miss out. Like, go buy it. It's a free mint.
We're so back.
I mean, this is wild. Ladies and gentlemen, I have on my personal computer right now, I have the Cryptoadz secondary action pulled up. And the fact that it's pumped while we talked about it, I know I've said it like 5 times, but this is a return to previous times. It's a return to old times here. I can't believe that happened. That is absolutely wild. I have to do a spoiler alert for all the people that bought it during the show. You're going to lose money. So welcome to the space. That's how it works, because the space gets bored in like 2 seconds. The Simpsons thing was last night. Think about it. Even if we're so back, by Friday, people are going to be flooring those Cryptoadz for 0.98. You lost money if you bought them. I'm just telling you right now. But that's part of this. Part of being in NFTs is losing money. That's what happens. You buy an NFT and the price goes down. Go ahead, Clemente.
So on that note of like, it feels like things are cooking again. I'm not touching these GameFi tokens with a 10-foot pole personally. Like, I'm not going to buy grapes at this price, not buying Mochaverse, etc. One of the things that I thought was interesting was I'm trying to think what collections have a potential announcement coming up. And hear me out on this, Easy. Do you think DeGods and Utes are potentially positioned to have a run here if Frank, for example, drops something that's well received? I did buy 2 Utes actually, and I sold one for like a 0.1 ETH gain yesterday.
You're swinging.
Dude, I'm
This boy's swinging.
I'm buying NFTs right now too, baby. Let's go.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think you're smoked.
On Utes?
Yeah, I think you may get a negligible run, but I just don't like. You're playing in that range that I would not want to play in right now, which is that 0.7 to 1 ETH range. That's not where I'm looking. either go bigger, 3 to 5 ETH, or go much smaller, like 0.3 and under. I hate that middle range. Hate it. Because it's the most volatile range, but it's also like, when I say volatile, it goes down 0.3, you're at 0.4, it goes up, you're at 1 ETH. That's a 50% run, but that feels terrible, because if you buy something at 3 ETH and it goes to 6, 7, that feels great, because that's some serious size. You buy something at 0.05 and it goes to 0.4, you just hit an 8x. And that's not like crazy, but you can play multiples of it. So to me, playing in that 0.7 to 1 range is my least favorite range to play in, purely because it's like it's all risk reward based. That's when you see that 3 to 5 ETH range, think of it like Bitcoin. When you see that 0.3 and under range, think of it like Solana. You're playing in the ETH range, baby, and I don't want any part of it. I want no part of it.
Very interesting. I was going to say that I would think that Utes and DeGods would pump, because again, these things going up in price. It's not like Tesla. It's not when it's like, yo, Tesla sold an extra 400,000 Cybertrucks or something. That's not how this stuff works. It's literally like, yeah, that other thing pumped, so I thought I'd buy a Ute, and that thing went up too. So why wouldn't Utes go up over the next 6 months? Why would that be?
It's not a matter of not going up. It's a matter of how much they go up. They 2x here. They're at 1.4.
Yeah.
You made a 0.7 gain. Why not buy 5 things at 0.1 that go to 0.4? And now
it's
you
a
just
lot
made
riskier, dude.
That's like, exactly. The risk reward is what I'm talking about here. It's either you got to take a bigger swing and play the risk, or you're sitting in this middle ground where you're hoping for a 2x at a 0.7 ETH run. But it's also like right now watching the market, they're not dropping a token. They already have their token, and it's been down only, and it's on 3 different chains. So it's like, pick your poison. Do you want to buy dust on Polygon, Sol, or ETH? To me, that's like way riskier than something that hasn't dropped a token yet and has potential reward. And I love Frank. I love DeGods. I think these things have potential, but it's not where my risk profile is right now. I'd rather take a much harder swing at something lower that has speculative announcements versus something right now where the space acknowledges Frank is great. They're waiting on an announcement, but are these people waiting on an announcement to also sell?
That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I feel like money moves fast right now. And we're seeing it, what happened with Springfield pumps. Like Cryptoadz, people were kind of talking about it last week. I saw like in Discord, people talking about Toads, the price action there. It just feels like, I think there are better players. Utes feels a bit too safe, Clemente, for me right now. I think if they do pump, I agree. They pump, but not as much as we're probably going to see with other collections, which perhaps potentially have not pumped for a really long time, and for whatever reason get some kind of announcement or some kind of catalyst event that makes them pump more. I think like you can go riskier right now. You don't have to be in like the safe stuff at the moment.
You guys are wild. Like, you guys are absolutely wild gambling addicts. I did not expect you to say that buying. I'm talking about spending like 28 grand on Mutant Apes, and you guys are like, yeah, it's not a high risk enough move. Like, what? Excuse me? Like, are you serious? Like, oh, sorry, I didn't know that you guys just
plow your money into something way riskier. All right, back up the Brinks truck, buy Pepe, and launch an NFT of it right now.
I didn't know that spending 28 grand on 3 internet pictures when it's still technically not a bull market was a low risk play. So I'll let you guys go and spend $30,000 on something yourselves. But yeah, interesting.
I did, and it went to 0. So I'm out.
Is that the moonbird?
My little moonbird. My little moonbird went right down. So yeah, I've done that, and now I learned my lesson. So yeah, I don't know. I think like when you do those plays and you see that kind of money just go straight down to 0, it kind of makes you like, I'm willing to take risk, but I can take risk in a better way. And that's why I don't go for the big plays anymore. And I'd rather just diversify into like other things, which I think can still pump strongly. But I don't need to be putting 30 grand on the table and going like all in on black and just being like, that's my Hail Mary. And then you just see it go out of bounds. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I guess what are you looking at for a low price?
Is this, look, guys, we're gonna have to just do a November picks. I know I won last time. So I feel like we need to do November picks, but can we do it tomorrow? Because I just need a little bit of time to think about it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, sure. That's fine.
I want to win. I need a little bit of time to think about it.
All right, we're going to do it tomorrow. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap. If it's your first time listening to the show, which it seems like for a lot of y'all it is, and that's fine, and welcome. Thank you for listening to the show. I hope you will stick around, and it's not just a Simpsons pump. We do the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, each and every week. Been doing it for 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. That's not an exaggeration. 2 years. Haven't missed a day, a weekday. Haven't missed a Monday through Friday in 2 years. The show is also available on YouTube if you want to see the visual component, see all of our beautiful faces, except for Clemente's. And then if you want to also, I'm messing with you, Clemente. People were saying our videographer looked like Clemente. It was pretty funny. I was like, dude, he's a different gene pool, buddy. Not South American, but okay. Anyway, so the show's available on YouTube for video. We also actually stream the video to X, to Twitter. And I know a lot of folks are sticking on strictly Twitter, so you can see the video there. And it's also available on audio podcasts, Spotify podcasts, Apple podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts. Shows about NFTs and broader crypto and macro stuff. Sometimes we talk about the stock market, we talk about precious metals like gold, and we have guests from varying backgrounds on the show. Anyway, we will be back tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening. Very